You're in mid game and it feels like your damage is just too low no matter what you do. You're probably not actually underpowered. You're just scaling the wrong way. And in this video, I'm going to break down why that happens and what to adjust to your build to actually start feeling stronger. So you may feel that enemies are taking longer to kill, like your build feels fine, but it doesn't feel strong. And it feels like you're upgrading things, but you're not feeling the power that comes with the character. So this isn't early game anymore. This is mid game before we get to end game. So I'm not assuming that you're building into your character with random stuff. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking that you've gone off of some other Descendants build. He or she or them or they told you that that build was supposed to work. It got them through end game. That build works for them, and that build works perfectly the way that they've planned it. But you are not them. You are you. And what I want to emphasize here is that now, if you're not glass cannon, if you're not glass cannon, then you can't be all defense either. You're not, unless you're Ajax, it's different. But if we're talking pure build synergy, then we're going to be talking about something like this. I'm not going to go over any hard numbers here. It's going to be easy to follow. The ancestral mod, easy thing to get nowadays. Everyone can get it. Really easy key part of the build. They want you to build into it. You don't need it, but it adds to getting you to end game. Ancestor mods, think of it this way. And Ancestor mod, I know I keep clicking on a Transcendent, but they look the same. Let's look at Ancestor mods. Ancestor mods are to push your already good build into the best version of the build it can be. This isn't something that specifically you need to go out and go pay caliber for on the trade website or anything. You got to understand where you're going. If you got to understand where you're at to figure out where you're going, right? That's a better way to put it. And when the ancestor mod, this fills in or adds to what you're already doing. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. Let's understand what we're building. Haley is good at dealing crit damage. That is where she thrives at. Haley does good when you have the right weapons. If I go out there with Frostwatcher, right? If I go out there with Frostwatcher and I use my skills that's supposed to be doing good damage with it, I'm not going to put out good damage with my skills with Frostwatcher. Not necessarily. Don't think about anybody else's build you done seen right now. What I'm telling you is facts. So, if my Frostwatcher is not good, then my skills will not be good. Let's relate that to another character. If I am Enzo, and my guns aren't good, no matter how good my skills are, the build will feel like shite. So let's compress this into something understandable. All right. More than likely are building into the wrong thing for the wrong character. For the wrong character. If you are building into Bunny, let's go look at a Bunny. If you are building into Bunny, right? A lot of my earlier game build, my early game build videos talked about Bunny a lot. She's an easily accessible descendant. If we look at her descendant modules, Bunny can be built one of two ways. She can be built non-crit. She can be built crit. Most damage you're going to get out of her is crit. Bunny does not, if seldomly, I think that's the word. If seldomly, if ever, there we go. Easier word. If ever she uses a gun. If she's using a gun, then you're fighting A, an enemy that's way too tough, or B, your build's not online. Not saying it ain't good, I'm saying it's not online. What are you building the Bunny for? Say that 10 times fast. What are you building the bunny for? What are you building the glay for? What are you building the Valby for? Sounds simple, but listen. If we use Jaber, right? If we use Jaber and we did not focus on the fact that we need as much skill power as possible to get into this character, it is going to feel like shite. Now, upgrading your components is upgrading your gear. This is your gear. Let's use simple terms. This is your gear, right? And this is like your, I don't know, the beginning part of your gear. I'm not even going to say it's like an amulet or a ring or anything. Let's use simple things. These are your weapons that are key pieces to adding to the build. I say that because most Peacemaker users are using Peacemaker in order to get the unique ability to trigger while using abilities. Not necessarily using the Peacemaker for what it is. But if I am using Glay, and if my restored relic is not up to snuff, then all the skills that Glay utilizes with this weapon will make the weapon feel like shite. A last dagger needs to be cracked. A restored relic needs to be cracked. And these are additions to this side of her. A gun descendant. This will mainly focus on skill descendants, right? Let's not put them into hard lane categories. It's not etched in stone. Baseline, let me tell you, it's baseline. If we're talking Eugen, right? I'm not going to go through every character. These are some examples that I've thought of. If you're using Eugen, then unlike every other character, your attack and defense needs to be very synergistic. The things that you do with this character, you may go ahead and tell me, oh, well, Eugen's skill deals a whole lot of damage to this enemy when I use this skill. I have seen more dedicated healers go into DPS and fall in the what is it called? The void vessel operations than is necessary. If you're falling in a void vessel operation with your optimized build, you are not optimized. You are not doing it right. Are there hard lines of components and external components that you can use that will be good for that character? Absolutely. Absolutely, there are. But what fits the kit and caboodle for what you're trying to do? What fits that? Let's go into it. Okay, now if I told you that the best gear, if the best external components for Bunny was the sprint accelerator component set, if I told you that that was the best one for her, you'd be absolutely screwed. Because if we're talking about that, that's the best one you can get for her, and we look at where you get it, it's in Forbidden Sanctuary. You can't get it because you're not at endgame yet. Forbidden Sanctuary, believe it or not, is endgame. That is going to be endgame for most people. It's not beating the wall crasher. It's not beating the abyss boss. It's actually being able to run a mission by yourself, right? Or in a competent group with matchmaking. You don't got to solo everything. You're not Jin Woo from solo leveling. You can't do that. If you can go in there with a comparable team and hold your own, you're doing it right. If you can do a regular mission out in the wild on Axiom Plains by yourself, you're doing it right. Those are both comparable and equal things. Now, what is the best set for Bunny? I'm going to tell you that that is dependent on the person playing the character. Now, if I've lost you already, then there ain't no helping you, because I want to to emphasize that there's not just one gear set that's good for a person. There's two, likely two. For the most part, one character will fall in a line for one set, right? But there's typically two. Now, for Bunny, you have the Sprint Accelerator set. I think she has like four. She's not a good example, but she has the Pulsating Power. She has the Supernova set. She has the, I want to say, Annihilation set. Bunny goes with a lot of different kits, but not all characters are built the same. Ajax will do the best with Shell Crusher and Moving Fortress. He likes the defense and he likes the fire rate to use the Restored Relic. Ajax comes out with a cannon on his back. So he is undoubtedly, supposed to be a gun descendant. That's how he's supposed to be, defense and offense. He is the immovable object with the, what does that saying go? The immovable object and the unrelenting force or something. He's both of those at the same time. But Nail is not that character. Nail relies heavily upon her skills. Heavily upon her skills. Now, we're going to use Nail as the example for people not building their character right synergistically, right? Synergistically is the key word of the day. Now, a lot of people are going to go into here, and they usually pick Shattered Heart. Shattered Heart, let's switch it out and then we'll save it so we can see the change. Shattered Heart is heavy in DPS. Is DPS focused primarily. And it changes this thing into a DPS. It does a lot of DPS stuff, right? That's what Shattered Heart focuses on. That's what people want to do. People want to see big number go up and make you feel good. Bigger number make me feel good. That's what we want. But I use Cold Heart. I want to say the Shattered Heart. No, Cold Heart. Right? So I use the Cold Heart. And or is it restored heart? Jesus Christ. So I use the restored heart because of all the defensive things that go on with it. It causes a lot of jank on screen because no one ever uses it. It's quite bright and blinding, but it creates a arcade feel to keep people alive who suck. It keeps me alive when I suck, and it does me justice when I'm out here doing the most with my gun. Now, my skills are still good. The skills are still good. Her overall base kit wouldn't be good if her skills weren't good. So this turns her into a Swiss Army knife. Not good for everything, because if you ever own the Swiss Army knife, it ain't good for everything, but you can do a lot of good things with the limited things that you have available to you. If you need a bottle open, it will open that bottle. So I use her as a gun descendant. I use the Gaze of the Abyss. I use the Kuiper Hollow Point rounds or points, whatever. I use that, right? Most people are going to tell you, oh, go into, I don't know, whatever the thing is that makes her 15% more damage ability wise. You could potentially melt, but you will potentially get melted. If you ain't good, you ain't good. The Ancestor mod that I got on here, it is a replacement for my skill critical hit rate, and it gives me two extra things, right? That's what I built it into. That's what I wanted to. If I didn't have it here, I just have a skill critical hit rate flat, whatever that one is. in a regular sense. We have to understand that damage and survivability at end game are they're not separate things. Ajax ain't just defense and Bunny just ain't offense. If you can't take the hit, then you can't get through the mission. So you will have to put in HP mods. If you that dude that don't, or you that person that don't, more power to you. Most of us aren't. You need HP and defense if you don't got it. You need cooldown. That's key. Cooldown's going to come into effect for 99% of all the characters. Now, the last two slots. So if we're saying that defense and HP and defense, whatever, are mandatory, that's two of our slots. If we saying cooldown is a key point in this, then that's already two more slots. This is for about 80 to 75% of the characters. We're gonna talk. We're gonna need HP. We're gonna need defense. We're gonna need cooldown. That's that. And then most of y'all would be like, "Well, that's a crit mod. That's a crit mod. That's a crit mod. That's a crit mod." And then it needs a crit mod. You don't need a crit mod. You need something to amplify what you're already doing. So I got the Kuiper Hollow points to enforce the Kuiper Hollow points. I got the skill expansion to expand my range out. I got skill effect range up more while giving myself shield because I want that. I don't want to die right away. I don't want it to start taking away from my life immediately. It's a good amount of life she has, but we want some type of buffer. You're gonna need a buffer, and then you're gonna need the two things that go more into what you're already doing, and the thing that's going to grant you more oomph. Some people's characters care about skill power. Some people's about modifiers and skill power. We're not going to deep numbers. We're not going to do that. What we need is for this character alone, because I'm using things that stay on the battlefield. I'm using things that amp me up. I use skill duration. Could I go another skill duration? I could, but it could be a little overkill. Now, could I? I went into cooldown here, and it gives me non-attribute skill power. So I went for cooldown, damage, right? Duration is damage. Duration equals additive damage. And then, so synergy, 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 and then extra cooldown and power for synergy. Range and synergy. We got to pair these two things together because if I put her all glass cannon, if I put all the crit mods on her, I am going to lose so much defense. I'll just take this off, and I'll take this off, right? And then I'll save it. Look at how much this all went down. If I went all crit, this is what my base HP is gonna be, and this is what my base defense is gonna be. That means I got to do a Dark Souls run. I got to do no hit damage. I gotta just go in there, slay out, kill everything immediately, kill on sight. There's no shot that that's happening. Not with my skill level, and probably not with yours. So what you need is a simple fix. You need to focus on your core damage selection. Where is your damage coming from? Where's it coming from? Is it coming from your guns, or is it coming from your skills, or is it coming from your guns that are enhanced by your skills to do the damage? If I was to use nail and to use my second and third ability while utilizing the sword, I'm going to have theoretically infinite shields, because that's what it does. It gives me back shields. So it gives me skill power increase, shield recovery, movement speed increase, all that. It's going to give me all that. And then my one is going to give me incoming damage reduction. It's going to give me continuous shield recovery. It's going to last for 17 seconds. The Into the Abyss lasts for 20 seconds. So these two things are happening, but the cooldown's 18 seconds. This lasts for 20. My cooldown on this is 2 seconds. The cooldown on this is 6 seconds. There is a lot of overlap that gets me back into utilizing my meteoric barrage Greg's reverse fate on the enemy, taking out lots of enemies at the same time while doing the max amount of damage I can. This is enhanced by my external components. Gun Descendant enhanced by this. So it's enhanced by doing a thing that I don't really care about, right? It's doing the thing that I don't really care about, but it is doing something based off of my skill power, which is, let's see, 22,000, and it's doing 68% of that randomly and falling on the screen. So I need it to do something while I am doing something else. This is the catch-all for when I'm in Axiom Fields and fighting the things and just doing the thing. Primary, secondary, big boss killer, big ad killer, big ship killer. Doing a thing. What's her best external components? Don't know, don't care. This is what I use that makes it feel fun for me. Are you going to need the right reactor? Yes, you are going to need the right reactor. But I want to tell you that this all needs to be as synergetic as possible. HP, defense for the most part, cooldowns, all that's key. But the kicker is getting this up. Go to my Iron Hearts particle video that's located on the channel that has not changed on how to collect Iron Heart particles fast to get this knocked out. Unless you have this all knocked out, read the thing, explains the thing. Reading the skill explains the skill. Now, not everybody's skill preference is going to be the same, but there are a lot of generic things in here that would work for you. Now, if you can go without having some of the more, I don't know, meta choices for certain select characters, our main goal is survivability, damage, utility, and then we get all these extra bonuses when we max this out. We get all those for free. This all happens at the same time. So you need all that to hit survivability, damage, synergy. That's what we need. And then we want to relay that to our RK tuning. Right now I got her as a Gun Descendant that does skill things on the side. And then this add a little gem here. When buffing or healing allies, grants recovery, amplification wave to self, HP healing, outgoing shield recovery. So I'm healing people's shields 10 times faster. They're going to stay in the fight longer. I'm going to get my HP healed. It's got a 10-second duration, 20-second cooldown. My skills last for 20 seconds, and then they cool down for less. They cool down on 18 to 6 to 2 seconds. So I get an extra little kicker there. Extra little kicker there for survivability. And this is my damage, right? Greg's Reverse Fate, I know for my weapon, deals a good amount of damage because I'm also using the Kuiper Hollow points. So I don't say this to go in circles. I tell you this to explain the loop of how it all comes back together, the Ouroboros, of how this infinitely works for my self-survival. Because if I can stay alive, that means I can pick up the other person that isn't optimized in the build. Now, if this video helped you fix your damage, the next step is making sure you're not slowing yourself down in other areas. I'll break down the most common mid-game mistakes in the next video.